Holy fuck, what the shit was that? That was probably what moviegoers thought when they first saw the original trailer in 1979, shortly before the release. The trailer tells us that out there in the universe, or hey, let's be more local, the greater Milky Way galaxy, there are unknowns and horrors out there so ugly, so vicious, so incomprehensible, so indifferent that you wonder if we as humans will ever be ready to explore the uncharted reaches of space. Imagine living in a world where working or simply being in space is as ordinary as getting in a car and driving to work every day. Simply routine at this point, where ordinary people of all types can easily access space the way we can access the outside. Well, except for 1 year. It seems more and more corporations are taking interest in artificial intelligence and going out and colonizing space. From the early 1970s, a writer named Dan O'Bannon had recently worked on production of an alien sci-fi comedy called Dark Star and wanted to do something similar but make it a horror movie. Teaming up with Ronald Shusett, they developed the story for Alien and tried to pitch the idea to multiple studios. One studio, Brandywine Productions, ran by David Giler and Walter Hill, who the latter is known for some pretty good films. They rewrote the screenplay multiple times and tried to present it to 20th Century Fox. Fox was initially hesitant at a science fiction film due to the high cost, but the success of some wacky film about space wizards, laser swords, and beeping robots led the studio to greenlight this project, and therefore the film Alien burst out of the studio's chest and fled into the cinemas. The setting is an era where humanity has not only ventured into space, but the corporate world has made it a possibility for ordinary people of humble status to go out, develop the necessary skills to man large spaceships of countless value, and navigate the complexity that is the greater Milky Way galaxy. We begin this film on board the USCSS Nostromo, a commercial towing spaceship that is towing an entire mineral ore refinery of roughly 2 billion tons, with a ship's length of 1.5 miles from the mining plant Thetis in the Epsilon Reticuli system 59 light-years from Earth. The heading is back to Earth to deliver the refinery and receive payment. The ship received an alien transmission of unknown origin. Therefore, as a result of company policy, the ship wakes everyone up in the hypersleep vault. To maintain resources like food and air, the 7-person crew during the duration of the travel generally go into hibernation. In this case, they are confused when they do not see Earth on the view screens in the control room. Dallas, the captain, communicates with the ship's computer, who they call Mother, and is made aware of the transmission and that the crew must go out and investigate, if it's a potential alien civilization that humanity has not yet been made aware of. Parker and Brett, the ship's engineers, don't take this news well and object to this, but Ash, the science officer and company man, states that they would forfeit their total payment if they disobey the directive. The crew determines they are around the Zeta Reticuli binary star system, which the film states they are halfway home and need to travel another 39.3 light-years, or 12 parsecs to get back to Earth. So they are all alone in an unknown system, having to investigate an alien transmission has the crew on edge. They approach a planetoid or a moon around a gas giant and attempt to make a landing, but the planetoid's atmosphere and one of the landing struts makes contact with a giant rock, causing damage to the systems of the ship, so they are stuck there until they can repair the critical systems needed to take off. In the meantime, Captain Dallas, with his executive officer Kane and navigator Lambert, go out in spacesuits to locate the source of this transmission. They find a derelict alien ship and enter to see some extremely foreboding and slimy corridors, to enter a giant room with the remains of what looks like a giant alien that looks like it grew out of the giant captain's chair it's seated in. While Kane is disinterested, Dallas and Lambert see that a hole in the skeletal alien's chest has the bones protruding outward, assuming that something burst out from within it. Ripley, the warrant officer and next in command after Kane, is back on the ship and manages to make some sense of the transmission and has come to believe it is a warning and attempts to warn the outside party, but Ash discourages it. Kane discovers a giant room underneath the alien bridge that stores rows and rows of leathery-looking alien eggs. Kane touches an egg and it opens, and a creature springs out and manages to attach itself to his face. The others carry Kane back to the ship, but Ripley refuses to let them board as they explain that something has attached itself to Kane, citing the company's quarantine procedure, 24 hours for decontamination. Ash lets them in anyways, and they take Kane straight to the infirmary. Any attempt to remove the creature proves dangerous when they try to remove one of the creature's fingers that some extreme molecular acid spills out, eating the decks of the ship. They don't understand what the creature is doing to Kane, but it is managing to keep him alive, and Ash assumes it's feeding him oxygen. After dinner, they discover the creature is no longer on Kane's face and missing. It drops from the ceiling onto Ripley, dead as a doornail. Shortly thereafter, Kane awakens and doesn't remember anything but a dream where he's being slowly smothered. They decide to have one last meal before going back to hypersleep, with Kane really chowing down on the food, until he starts experiencing choking, convulsing, and violent seizures. The crew tries to help him, but pop! A new alien is born with a mouth, teeth, and a tail and flees into the ship. The crew says their farewell to Kane and launch his body into space, and they go and hunt for the little alien. Ash provides them with a tracking device that he claims will key in on micro changes in air density. Ripley, Brett, and Parker attempt to capture the creature in a locker, but find out it's only Jones the cat. The cat, scared, runs off into the refinery. Brett is tasked with retrieving the cat, and with a nice little atmospheric lighting and rhythmic heartbeat sounds, he finds the cat, only to be attacked by an already fully grown alien larger than any man, killing him with an actuated head bite from its deadly inner jaw, and taken into the air vents to an unknown location. Captain Dallas plans to go into the air ducts himself with an incinerator unit to corner the creature to the main airlock where they can blow it the fuck into space. They cannot kill it conventionally, or they could risk the molecular acid for blood eating the hull of the ship, causing a life support breach. Ripley and Ash are at the main airlock, while Lambert and Parker are using the tracker to track the creature. Dallas himself goes into the tight circular duct that makes me think of another franchise. Lambert's tracker malfunctions, and Dallas attempts to get the hell out of there, but the alien ambushes him, and then silence. The incinerator is there, but Dallas is missing. Ripley, now in permanent command, decides to continue Dallas's plan, but Lambert objects and suggests that they should abandon the ship and take their chances in the shuttle, hoping somebody will pick them up. Unfortunately, the shuttle does not take 4. Ripley accesses Mother and tries to find out, based on the data provided, if there is any means to kill the alien. Mother reveals Special Order 937 through emergency command override that the science officer is supposed to secure the alien as his highest priority, and everything else, including the lives of the crew, is expendable. Whoa, so the company already picked up and translated the signal before they left Thetis? Ash, that son of a bitch, has been protecting Alien all along. She attempts to inform Lambert and Parker of this, but Ash traps her in the mess hall and attacks her. Parker and Lambert try to help and hit Ash in the head, revealing he is, in fact, a fucking robot, and subdue him with an electrical prod. They reactivate him and question him on how to kill the alien. Ash tells them that they can't, and that he admires its purity, unclouded by conscience and delusions of morality. Parker incinerates him, and Ripley decides to abandon the fucking ship. The new plan now is to set the self-destruct of the Nostromo and the refinery, and preparing the escape shuttle, the Narcissus, for escape. Ripley is conducting the shuttle and self-destruct preparations, while she tasks Parker and Lambert with gathering as much coolant as possible for the life support systems of the Narcissus. Shortly after, Ripley secures Jones the cat, but she hears Parker screaming to Lambert, the alien has come for Parker and Lambert and has cornered her. Parker tries to gun butt the alien with the incinerator, but the alien dodges it and hits him with the blade tipped for a tail, and overpowers Parker and ultimately gives him the head bite. The creature turns to Lambert and sexually assaults Lambert with its tail and mutilates her off-screen, as Ripley and us, the audience, hear her struggles and final screams over the intercom until dead silence. Ripley is too late and finds their corpses decorating the refinery, and flees and scrambles to the self-destruct room to get that initialization done fast. Ripley sets it, and all the alarms go off, and Mother begins the countdown to the end of the window to abort the self-destruct. She climbs down the ladder, descending to the lower part of the ship, and finds a nest the alien built, with Brett and Dallas, who were taken earlier in the film, in one of the holds. Brett is completely cocooned and finds Dallas barely conscious, begging her to kill him. It looks like this is how the alien reproduces, and therefore Ripley incinerates the nest. She takes Jones and tries to make for the Narcissus. On her way to the shuttle, she encounters the alien in a corridor and is cut off from the shuttle. She drops Jonesy and backs off down the corridor and runs back to cancel the self-destruct. She turns the cooling units back on to abort the sequence, but Mother continues with the self-destruct anyway, leading to this little payoff. Ripley sprints to the Narcissus, alien or no alien, and returns to that same spot to see Jonesy okay, and manages to make it to the shuttle while the self-destruct is only 1 minute away. She manages to launch the shuttle and barely get the Narcissus clear of the Nostromo as the giant vessel and refinery go up in an unforgettable ball of energy. All clear, Ripley puts Jonesy into hypersleep and is changing into her sleepwear, where an alien hand springs from the alcove, revealing that the alien not only survived in Nostromo, but is in extreme close proximity and needs to be dealt with once and for all. Ripley springs to the spacesuit closet. She slowly and quietly slips into the spacesuit and obtains a harpoon gun as the only means of defense. The alien is sleeping, so she walks out and activates the adjacent equipment that blasts steam at the alien, smoking it out. She then blasts open the airlock, sucking the alien into space, and then hitting it in the abdomen with the harpoon, tethering it to the ship outside. She blasts the engines on, throwing the alien into space at last. Ripley sends a distress call and joins her cat in hypersleep. Whoa, what a fucking movie. I can only imagine being in the audience on opening night and coming out of this movie. I actually saw the second movie, Aliens, first, and was expecting this movie to be the same. Well, I was dead fucking wrong on that one. My dad owned the VHS tape that he bought in the early 80s, so as an 11-year-old, I found it and decided to watch it. I was initially bored by the slow build, but when Kane's chestburster scene came, I had to turn it off because it was so disturbing. My first horror movie that I watched in its entirety, and this was also part of my building interest in science fiction along with Star Wars and Star Trek. As a movie, the slow build works very well because it takes time to build atmosphere and to build tension. The performances of the actor is solid across the board and does such a good job of maintaining verisimilitude or maintaining the suspension of disbelief. The visuals and the sounds are deeply unsettling, from the arachnid design of the facehugger to the phallic head design of the alien, or Xenomorph in later installments. The design of the alien is the stuff made of nightmares. It doesn't have eyes, so we can't really empathize with it. It has lots of teeth with an inner jaw that actuates and kills its prey, to the razor blade tip of its tail and the acid for blood, so you don't dare kill it. On top of that, the facehugger has an arachnid design that will instantly go for a person's face, attaching itself and sticking its phallus down the throat of its prey, ejecting its seed in the victim. In other words, orally raping its victim. The sound as the alien stalks his prey goes from silence to a creepy rhythmic heartbeat sound, then back to dead silence. Deeply unsettling. Add to that the existential idea that the greater universe is indifferent to us humans, and that our world and our existence is tiny and insignificant to the greater picture. Space is full of infinite potential, but it's also full of infinite unknowns and infinite hazards. Alien is not only a horror movie, but it is also a disaster movie and shows things in sequence going wrong one after another, from the moment Ash let Kane aboard with the facehugger on his face. With all that slow build-up to the slasher haunted house elements to the high stakes of getting off the ship in time before the ship self-destructs while evading the stalking alien, It's a lot to take in, and the payoff is great at the end when Ripley has her last stand with the creature. To go on a tangent, if you like Alien, I would highly recommend the Creative Assembly game Alien Isolation. This game is a survival horror where you play as Ripley's daughter Amanda. Yes, she had a daughter she left on Earth for the duration of this job. I can't imagine how a family could handle that type of job. Well, Amanda, a child during the events of Alien, so now 20 years later, she works out in space, near where the Nostromo initially disappeared. In the event, she could find some sort of closure regarding her missing mother. She gets wind of the retrieval of the Nostromo's flight recorder on the space station Sevastopol and goes there to retrieve the recorder, but disasters are afoot on the station, and Amanda is alone with bad people, murderous androids, and the alien stalking its prey on the station. This game is the scariest game I have ever played, and the detail from the music to the visuals is almost to the T in line with Alien, and if you are a fan of the first movie, you need to play this game. It's that good, despite IGN's shitty review. Alien is the perfect example of less is more, where, like Alfred Hitchcock once said, you only show a good portion of a scene and you let the audience use their imaginations to fill in the rest. The film was influential on not only other sci-fi horrors over the years, but was also a big influence on the Metroid games as well, from being alone with the creature that wants to kill you, to an evil computer named Mother, or in Metroid's case, Mother Brain, and the Metroids being as deadly as the alien itself. The unknown aspect of the alien, its vicious nature, and its origin was what made this film effective in its horror. The Lovecraftian or cosmic horror aspect is perfectly captured in this film, from the nature of dealing with the unknowns of deep space, the vast nature of the universe, the conspiratorial company putting the security of the alien before the crew, and the nature of the alien, making it a movie that will not only scare you, but perhaps make you question the nature of your reality as well. Does mankind have what it takes to deal with the psychological elements of traversing deep space? Will we ever be ready for what awaits us? I will say, whatever is out there, I know for a fact that we will overcome that base fear and we will be fucking ready. On the next episode, you were wondering what happened to Ripley right after she was sent the distress call, right? Was she picked up? How long was she drifting in space? Does Ripley have nightmares about the alien? Will she ever find closure? All this and more on the next episode of Nerdporial Reviews, Aliens. This time, it's fucking war. Make sure you're still subscribed, and thank you so much for watching. The only thing a Nerdporial should fear is fear itself. Nerdporial Lifeform, signing off.